Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 3rd of November, year of our Lord 2020-25. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hingle, a.k.a. Moton Noah. Lots of stuff happened this weekend. Big sports weekend. Had a nuts, bizarro performance from, well, it's not just one individual performance from Luka, but it's just kind of been the whole season out the gate for him. Ja got suspended. One of the single greatest baseball games and maybe sporting events that you'll ever see in your life happened. A Game 7 of the World Series. One of the craziest games in the NFL this season, Bears Bengals. I hope we get around. I hope I remember to talk about that at some point in this episode. Crazy weekend. Let's start off by talking about ball, but football, NFL Sunday. Lions lost again. They dropped to 5-3 on the season, coming off the bye. Dropped quite the stinker against Minnesota. Sheesh. If you're a regular listener of the show, you may remember that after the Lions lost in Week 1 to the Packers, murdered by the Packers in Week 1, I was like, whatever, like it's Week 1, this is when you're supposed to lose. I considered it Week 0, and I didn't think the loss counted. I was like, whatever, this doesn't matter. It's a really, really long season. I don't care about this. And I didn't let it affect me. Right? It, of course, matters quite significantly because it was a divisional loss, but Week 0 all the same. By the time they got around to losing their second game against Kansas City, that was another one that I was like, yeah, dog, like this was written in the stars. Obviously, we were going to lose this game. This is clearly the springboard game for Kansas City, where everybody spent the whole, the first 6 weeks of the season being like, oh, I don't know, Jim, Kansas City. And then, of course, we were the ones who, okay, I didn't really count that one either. I was just like, yeah, like I chalked this as a loss originally. So I just, the way that it transpired was exactly how I thought it was going to go. So because of that, I didn't count it. It was just like, so yeah, they have 2 losses, but I was like, I don't care about either of these losses. I'm going to tell you right now, first loss of the season came against the Minnesota Vikings. This one was real. This was a real loss. But I don't care. Like, I don't care. Because they deserve to lose. The Lions deserve to lose today. They stunk. They were terrible. Now, yeah, they banged up. I mean, more than banged up. Name a guy on the Lions roster. He got hurt today. He was down on the ground at some point and had to, sit out for a play or go back to the locker room, get checked out, get taped up, concussion protocol, like whatever it is. Name a guy. Name a guy other than Jared Goff. I swear to God, they got hurt today. Game took way longer than it should have because everybody kept getting hurt. Kirby Joseph was out for the whole game. I don't know, man. I think you're starting to see a lot of Lions fans turn on Ja Morant, the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, who replaced Ben Johnson, the now head coach of the Chicago Bears. And I don't know. I think for the first few weeks of the season, I didn't really have any problems outside of the Green Bay game. The Green Bay game, when they lost in Week 1, I think they were certainly, there were some issues, and I don't think they were playing inside of the identity that they had created offensively for the last few years, which was just, really the identity of the line. I know it's easy for, you look at this Lions roster and how many talented playmakers they have, whether it's at receiver or whether it's in the backfield. And, it's easy to think of that as their identity, or like going forward on 4th down, or like doing the fun gimmicky trick plays, or like whatever it is. Like it's easy to think that that's the identity, right? It's the offensive line. The offensive line has been the identity of the Detroit Lions since they became good in the last 3 years, right? Absent, vacant. Didn't see him today. Nobody showed up to work. And because of that, and because that has been a recurring issue to start the season so far for the Lions, we saw an iteration of Jared Goff today that we've seen, but it was different. Where every single year Jared Goff is due for 2 games where he sees ghosts. And in that game, he will throw at least 3 interceptions. A season ago, we got 2.5 of those games. The first one came against Tampa Bay early in the season. The second one came against Houston on the road on a Monday night game. It was a primetime game. I think it had to have been a Sunday night game. On the road in Houston, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. Now, if you look back at the tape, if memory serves, I think he only threw 2 of them like 2 real interceptions, because not all interceptions are created equally. Like, for example, one of them, I'm pretty sure, was a halftime Hail Mary ball in the end zone and got picked off. That does not, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it counts as an interception, but that's not a real interception, right? And I swear it was at least 1, but it might have been 2 that were tipped balls, whether it was at the line or somebody just didn't catch it and then it kind of bobbled and like whatever. And then it ended up being an interception. I think he only threw like 2 real ones in that game. And by the way, he threw 5 interceptions, and the Lions still ended up winning that game. So we got away with one of the Jared Goff sees ghost games. Did I say it was 2.5? Right? I hope I said that. The half was the Commanders game in the divisional round, or the divisional round at home. And the Lions did not win a playoff game last year because it was half. I've never gone back and looked at the highlights, and I never will. And so I don't totally remember, but I remember it just didn't work. Where I'm going with this is the offensive line didn't do its job today. And so, or throughout the week, or I'm sorry, throughout the season, this has been a recurring thing where Jared just has no time at all. And suddenly an edge rusher is in the backfield, or suddenly a linebacker doesn't get picked up and he's in the backfield. And Jared is having to make these throws either just to the boundary, or he's just fighting for his fucking life, or he's just straight up getting sacked. And so you've started to see the engine that has made the Detroit Lions run for these last few years is starting to, like, I don't know, like leak oil. I don't really know. The catalytic converter has been stolen from the Detroit Lions Ford Fiesta. That catalytic converter, by the way, was Frank Ragnow, who decided to retire after the draft. And I don't like the way that I said that, because that guy, he gave everything to this franchise, and he just wanted to spend time with his family. The guy just had a kid. He just wants to go fishing, and he just wants to go hunting. He's living his best life, and honestly, brother, more power to you. I just wish the timing was a little bit better so we didn't have to just go with Graham Glasgow, because unfortunately he kind of fucking stinks. Man, that was such a problem today, was just Jared having no time. And the Jared Goff sees ghost game. Right, this is where I was going with it also, is, yeah, man, he didn't really, did he throw a pick today that I'm just not thinking of? I know Monty had the fumble that got punched out. It was a great punch out. Like, textbook, that is the way that you're coached from, Little League, is to punch the ball out. I don't remember, was it Barnard who punched it out? Was that his last name? I don't remember who it was for the Vikings that did it. It was textbook. It was brilliant, and it pissed me off, but that is the exact way that you're supposed to do it. I don't remember if Jared was responsible for any turnovers today. The real problem, even if he was, was that he was just missing guys. I mean, he was missing throws that he always makes. And Amon-Ra, there was one sequence in the end zone where he technically had a drop pass, but it was on a nasty double move route. But it was, it was just out of reach, 4, 5, 6 inches out of reach, and he just couldn't get there. Man, they just look so out of sorts. And you spend the whole year being like, so where the hell is Jamison Williams? Where's that guy at? Where's he? Coming into this game today that I'm taping this against Minnesota, I think he had 16 or 17 targets. I'm sorry, receptions on the entire season. Targets is unknowable. He's also dropped a lot of passes this year. I would wager it's somewhere north of not north of 30. It's probably somewhere around 30. That target. He's not getting the ball. And this is where it goes back to Ja Morant, right? The offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. You have so many talented playmakers on this team that, what made Ben Johnson so good is yeah, sure, sometimes on a week-by-week basis, you're scheming for a specific player on offense, right? And it was always clear when it was the Laporta game, or when it was the Jameer game, or when it was the Monty game, or when we can do this whole thing. J-Mo didn't have that many, this is your game. It's just kind of supplemental, hey, we need a spark here. We need a home run ball here. We need a deep post here. And that's kind of what it is with J-Mo, I think, is there's such an emphasis on either doing the home run ball, which actually did work in this game. J-Mo finally was getting the ball, and he had a nice touchdown at the end of the game. It didn't end up mattering, but he kept us in the game, and he was able to keep his balance on the sideline, tightrope, act into the end zone, and it was great to see him, get involved again. I mean, J-Mo fantasy owners out there, I'm sure, were very excited to see that he had, 4 or 5 catches today, and he had a touchdown that he broke a decently big one. But what you're seeing from him this year is they're not really giving him the opportunity to take the top off of a defense. I would argue, again, part of that is because the offensive line is not giving Jared Goff enough time. But the other piece of it is, I don't know, man. They either do the deep ball shit, they'll run him on a short crosser, give it to him in space, and see if he can make a play. More often than not this season, that hasn't really happened. or they will let him run the ball and they'll do some like jet sweep or like reverse whatever. And so he'll get some carries there. Like, I don't know, they give him touches, but I just don't think they're giving him nearly enough. And man, is it discouraging to see a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs just kind of not have a game, like at all. And I mean, I mentioned the David Montgomery fumble. Shocking. That was really, really surprising when that happened. So, look, man, I'm watching a Lions team that a year ago, 40% of Jared Goff's dropbacks were play action. And you fast forward to now, 2025, if Jared Goff drops back to pass through what is this? The Lions are now 5-3, so this was week 9. So yeah, we had a bye week, so this was week 9. Through the first 9 weeks of the season, again, 40% of Jared Goff's dropbacks last year were play action. Which was first in the league. Okay? This year, through the first 9 weeks, Jared Goff's dropbacks, 15% of them are play action. That is last in the NFL. Huh. So this like thing that John Morton did especially today, which was either one of two things would happen on first down, which was either it was a short crosser or they would throw it out to the boundary and see if somebody could make a play, or it was just an inside zone run right up the gut, right? Nice little 22 power, something like that. Flip those plays, that was first and second down. And then when inevitably the Lions would end up in third and medium or third and long, and by the way, the Lions had a lot of third and holy shits today. A lot of third and, oh my God, rubbing my eyes like, can I get the binoculars? Hello? Screen pass. Come on, bro. We got guys with wheels, for sure. But it's 3rd and 17. Like, I don't know. So Lions fans, at least on Reddit and also my brother, have completely given up and they want John Morton fired. But I don't know. You want to get mad at the play calling? Look, there is obviously empirical data to suggest that the Lions are doing shit differently than they did a year ago, which I would argue, I don't even think I would be arguing this. I just think I'm fucking right about this. They're playing outside of the identity that they had created for themselves. And they want him fired, man. I don't know. I don't think it all falls on him. I just think that the execution has been bad. It's easy to look at Jared Goff's completion percentage, and I don't know where he ranks in like just straight up completion percentage in the league. Coming into this game, I think he might have been first, but he was really, really up there. I do know for a fact that he was at the top of the league, again, if not first in the league, in completion percentage against the blitz, which was something that the Vikings did a lot today. And they didn't give him time to let routes develop, which is funny. I don't want to make this point yet. I'll do that. I'll save it for the Bills Chiefs because that's what I was about to do. I don't want to derail myself here. It stinks. That really stunk. But I'm not. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. The reason that I'm not mad about it is because I think they deserve to lose, and I think that they needed this. I think that the Lions needed this because, 4 of their 5 wins this year, they just kind of skated by and they did exactly what they needed to do, and that was kind of it. They didn't do anything more than that. The Bengals game shouldn't have been close. The Bengals game should have been 60-3, you know? And, outside of that Monday night game that they played against Tampa Bay where they had nobody on the roster, they were starting a guy from fucking, like, Saginaw Valley State, which respect to him because he was lights out. Was it Nick Whiteside? Is that his name? He was lights out in that Buccaneers game. So I'm not trying to disrespect him, but you know what I'm trying to say here. The defense was incredible in that game. That was probably the most complete performance and the most like you deserve to win this game that they've played this year. The offense, by the way, sucked in that game too. Outside of wasn't that the game that Jahmyr Gibbs just went fucking berserk? Outside of literally him, they're just not finishing it, man. They get the ball in short, not short yardage, but like they got a short field, right? They got good field position, and they don't get 7 this year. They are not getting 7 this year. They're getting 3. That's scary because my brain is like my brain is in the mode of I know that they're going to make the playoffs. I know that they will. Well, I can't fucking believe that I'm saying that, by the way. Like, to confidently assert that the Detroit Lions will make the playoffs, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, is shocking. It's shocking. I just think that a team that I know will be in the playoffs at some point has to put it together, and there's probably no better time to do it than when you're now, 1-2 in the division. A day, by the way, that would have been fantastic to win, because the Packers got dropped by the Panthers. I don't know how the hell that happened. I saw one throw that Jordan Love had. I mean, he spends 10, 15 seconds scrambling and literally running for his life. It was a 4th and goal. I don't remember. It was the 3rd or 4th quarter, maybe. 4th and goal, running for his life. He's sprinting around, and then he throws what I believe sincerely from the bottom of my heart might be the worst throw that I've ever seen a quarterback ever make at the professional level, ever. And I can't really describe it to you. It's more just for the people who are watching the game. They smoked that game, and the damn Packers lost at home against Carolina. I have no idea how that happened. Look, the Panthers are a frisky team. They've been really fun. As soon as that Panthers podcast was like, hey, the team stinks, and we quit our podcast, and we're not doing it anymore, they just go on an absolute rocket, and they just start beating the hell out of everybody. Okay, that's fine. Would have been really nice to win this game. So if you're Minnesota, this was the day. You know what I mean? This was Minnesota, I think, in a lot of ways won the NFC North today, and I don't mean that in the very literal sense where chalk them for the NFC North. But yes, the Bears did win, and what are they now? Like, are they 5-2 or are they 6-2 now? God damn. Look, I also think there's a world where. Sorry, let me finish that Minnesota point. I don't know. It's funny, actually. Maybe they didn't. Look, the divisional record is absolutely going to matter, and I think beating Detroit, especially on the road, it's not nothing. But it is funny to me that if you look at the playoff picture right now in the NFC, they're still not in. They're still not in. So I got it right here. So as of this taping, the Sunday night game is it literally just kicked off. I'm looking at the clock. It would have just kicked off, right? So as of this taping, the Sunday night game hasn't happened, which is was it Seattle and Washington. So that does actually have consequence here. Number 1 is Philadelphia. 2 is Tampa Bay. 3 is the Rams. 4 Green Bay. 5 Seattle. 6 San Francisco. 7 Detroit. 8 Chicago. 9 Carolina. And 10th Minnesota. So I don't. It's not crazy to think that 3 teams from the NFC North will once again make their way into the playoff this year, and I just don't know how one of those teams wouldn't be the Lions. And we got the trade deadline coming up here on it's the 4th, right? Is it Monday, or is it the 3rd or the 4th? It's either Monday or Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. What do they do? Coming into this game, I was thinking they might go, the Trey Hendrickson rumors have been around for so long, and the Arden Key rumors have been around for so long, and, them going after an edge rusher, and maybe they'll pick up a corner or something, or just a DB, probably a corner would be the smartest. You don't really need to go safety, but, man, at this point, I don't know. And I think this is going to sound dumb and like super on the nose, but I think watching what the Lions do or do not do at the trade deadline will tell us a lot about how confident they feel moving forward. And I don't think, I don't think there's that much reason to be super concerned. I think a lot of the things that I'm complaining about here are easily fixable. I mean, look, if anybody not named Penei Sewell can't contain guys, like Taylor Decker got hurt today. He ended up coming back, though, right? He ended up coming back. So many guys got hurt. I don't remember who ended up being out. Like Terrion Arnold, who got his first career interception today, so good for him. He came back today. He was originally not supposed to be back until December, and then they got a second opinion, and 3 weeks later he's back. Okay. He ended up getting re-injured, and he was questionable to return or just strictly out. And so I don't remember. Man, I'm just going to move on. I'm just fucking so mad, but I'm not. I'm just going to finish the point, man. I don't know. I don't know what I think they need the most, but I do know, again, that I think this is fixable. It's like you talk about JMO and using him in short yardage or just the home run ball. How about the medium shit? I know that's kind of what we use Amon-Ra for because he's such a crisp route runner and he's such a good pass catcher. And if you're running a 10-yard dig, right, and you're right at the sticks, make it 12, 15 yards, and you're right beyond the sticks, you're throwing it into tight windows. That That is why you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he's more often than not is not going to drop the ball, right? If he has 100 targets for the whole season, he's got 92 catches. You know what I mean? He does not drop the ball. Whereas if in this instance, how I'm describing how I want to use JMO, is he going to catch that ball if it's a suicide ball and he's about to get crunched by a free safety and a linebacker? Is he going to, linebacker's probably not going to be, a nickel? Is he going to hold on to that crunch ball? He's done it, but probably not. Amon-Ra would, you know? So I just think getting JMO more involved, I think I would love to know about, like, outside zones. We just not running those anymore. We talk about the play action numbers. I don't know what the numbers are in outside zone. I'd like to know. Because the offense at times does feel, I don't know, meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. And with players this talented, you just can't do it. You know, you extend JMO and you pay him his money, despite everything that he's been through, which I would argue a lot of it isn't even his, like, it's not his fault. I mean, it is, but it's not shit that's real, and it doesn't actually mean anything, and it doesn't matter. They believe in him. Long term, they believe in him. You got to use him. You just got to use him. And so moving forward with the Lions, man, it's not going to get easier. This is a tough schedule. It's a really, really tough schedule. And if you're going to keep smoking these divisional games, right, the Lions were able to take care of business against the Bears. But that was because at the time, shit was cute with the Bears. You know what I mean? And it was funny that they stunk. Because at the time, they medium stunk. And the Lions were just objectively better. And they still are, by the way. But the Bears are on a rocket right now. And so what's going to happen when you saunter into Soldier Field and you get pimped by them? How's that going to feel? How's that going to feel? Because, yes, you do have the Packers at home, but you also have to go to Minnesota, and again, you have to go to Chicago. So of the 3 divisional games that the Lions have remaining, one of them is at home. And God forbid, is the Packers game on Thanksgiving, or is that the Christmas game? Because we play on Thanksgiving. Oh, of course we do. We play on Thanksgiving every year. We play on Christmas this year, too. I swear to God, one of those is the Packers game. Fuck! Not good. Not good. The Lions do not play well in these types of games. Thanksgiving Lions football has been the bane of my existence. I'm 27 years old. For 27 years. I don't know, actually, off the top of my head, what the numbers are. I would wager since 1998, how many times have the Lions won on Thanksgiving? 7 seems like a lot. I don't know. That seems like a good number. 27 years? Are they 7-20? Well, we haven't done this Thanksgiving yet, so there would be 7-19. Yeah. I wish I could look that up immediately and just get it. I'm not going to be able to do it. But I like that. I'm gonna stick to that. I'm gonna say 7. Not great. It seems like a lot. Which sucks. The Lions get to play on Thanksgiving at noon, 11:30, every single year since like the 50s. Is it longer than that? And they never win. And they never win, and it ruins your day. And you gotta spend all that time around family pretending like you're in a good mood and pretending like you're happy. Fuck this. I want to go home. My football team lost. I don't give a shit about this turkey. Let's get in the car. Gotta do that shit again this year on Christmas. On Christmas. We can't let the NBA have anything. No. We gotta have NFL on Christmas, and you can stream it on Netflix. Fuck! They're gonna lose on 2 holidays this year? And then, what's a holiday in January and February? Isn't it like President's Day in January or something? Okay, they'll probably, well, I can't do both of these. I was going to say they'll lose on President's Day, and then when they get to February and it's San Francisco for the Super Bowl on February 8th, it's Black History Month. I don't know. They're going to lose on all of these, on these national holidays. It's Black History Month. It's not a national holiday. It's sort of just a celebratory month is what it is. Man, don't put these guys on in prime time on a damn holiday. They're going to smoke it. I don't know if I trust this team right now. If that's not true, I'm going to take that back. I got half a mind to bleep that. I won't. I'm going to wear that I just said that. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I trust this team. I really, from the bottom of my heart, do. I think what some of this is stemming from, why it's so easy for me to dismiss the week 1 loss against the Packers. Why it's so easy for me to dismiss the Kansas City loss. And not this, I'm wearing the Minnesota one. They stunk today. I think it's because I spend the whole offseason with imposter syndrome, refusing to believe that this is real, and I just can't. My brain does not accept that this is real, and the Lions are good, and it's okay to accept it. I spend so long hammering that down in my brain that there's no way it's real, and the magic is over, and the air is out of the balloon, that when shit like this happens, right? When games like this happen, where they're just awful and it's maybe the worst game that they've played in 3 years, like actually terrible that they've played since like the second year that Dan was in Detroit. I think it's just, I think I'm able to get over it because I'm just like, yeah, I'm expecting to have my heart ripped out of my chest. They haven't given me a reason to believe this year. I'm telling you, you're going to look at Nick. They've been putting up 38 points a game. It's not a real 38 points, man. It is, but they should have been putting up 60 in all of these games. All of them. They had ample opportunity to do it, and they constantly, for one reason or another, right? Whether it's the play calling, the scheming, whether it's Jared missing throws, whether it's guys dropping the ball, whether it's the offensive line missing assignments and then Jared gets fucking smoked in the backfield. Name a reason, something will derail a drive, and it prevents these Lions from doing what they do best, which is running the ball down your throat and scoring a shit ton of points. They haven't been able to do that this year, despite the fact that they have actually scored a shit ton of points. If you're not watching these games and you're just looking at the box scores, you're going to think I sound insane. I'm telling you, man, there's something wrong with this team. And what Lions fans are collectively assuming is that it is the offensive coordinator, Ja Morant. I don't know, man. Lions lose. They're 5-3. It just kind of is what it is. Again, I think good for them for losing this game. They earned this one. They really did. What else happened today, folks? Well, just as a brief before, we're going to do Bills-Chiefs for a minute. I spent 30 minutes on that. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to do Bills-Chiefs for a minute here. In a minute. But first, I want to say, okay, so the Lions lose, and I go to, change over to the Chiefs-Bills game. And I see, I got to sit through this last, chunk of change, last like 2 minutes of this Bengals-Bears game. I'm like, all right, like whatever. Like there was still like 30 minutes to kick off or like whatever it was. I was like, okay, there's time for this. Like no worries. It was 41-27. Bears were up. And I was like, okay, that's why I was like, whatever. Like they'll run this clock out, like whatever. Bengals go down and score in like 4 plays. And they get the 2-point conversion. So it was 41-35. Now they got to get the onside kick. I don't think they had any timeouts at that point. There was maybe, like a minute 30 left in the game? They got the onside kick. They got it. I could not tell you the last time live I saw a team recover an onside kick. It's Maddie, my girlfriend. It's one of her least favorite plays in football. I think she hates onside kicks more than she hates the tush push because the efficacy of it is fucking 1%. 1%. If there are 100 onside kicks in the regular season in 18 weeks of an NFL season, how many of them get converted? If there was arbitrarily 100 of them, 5? And that seems like a lot. Well, actually, no. Again, that seems like a good number. I should be a fucking bookie. That seems like a great number. That seems kind of low. But you get what I'm saying here. They don't happen. By the way, when you do an onside kick, the ball has to go at least 10 yards before you're able to recover it as the kicking team, unless the receiving team touches it first. Then it's a live ball, right? The ball goes 9 yards. Bears player, his foot touches the ball. Bengals dive on it. I start jumping up and down. Holy shit, there's no way. There's no way I'm about to watch Joe Flacco do this with a minute and chunk of change left in the game, right? No timeouts. Are they going to do this? Bullet. Bears defense. Swiss cheese. Touchdown. Eventually. Right? Didn't take them very long. T. Higgins just catching these insane balls. They go up 42-41. 50 seconds left in the game. Bears get the ball back. Caleb Williams running around in the backfield. Doesn't know where to go. Throwing shit out of bounds. Making throws that don't make any damn sense at all. Just kind of like doing like his best like Caleb Williams USC impression, you know? Where as soon as he snaps the ball, he doesn't even try to like stand in the pocket. He just kind of like turns around and starts running around. Like he doesn't even fucking try, you know? Brother, look, if you were watching that game, I don't know, 30 seconds left in the game, and he throws a ball over the middle like 20 yards down the field to Colston Loveland, and he catches it, breaks 2 tackles, and he houses that bitch with 20 seconds left in the game. Bengals get the ball back, no timeout. Says the game's over. The game's over. The Bears win 42-41 or 43, whatever. Like 47-42 is what it was. On the most just, what the, the witching hour, man, where wins become losses. God, I wish I was watching Red Zone for that. Oh, I wish I could have heard Scott Hansen just going absolutely berserk. Fun win for the Bears. And then again, they're really good. What did I say earlier? 6-2. I got it offhand. I can look at it right here. 5-3? No, they're not 5-3. I don't fucking care. Sure, they could be 5-3. Whatever. Yeah, I just don't think they're good. I still don't think that they're good. They can have like the what it might end up being the best win of the season and the most like oh my god win of the season. The fallout from that game became Jamar Chase being caught on video walking through the tunnel after the game. In reference to the defense, he just says like one fucking stop. You couldn't get one fucking stop. Yikes. Chase Brown, the Bengals running back after the game, doing media availability at his locker. And he's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, we put the ball in the end zone. It's like, just go get a fucking stop. Like, just stop them from scoring. We did our job. Why can't you do yours? Ugh. Yikes. Vibes, -1 million. If Chase Brown saying that, honestly, talk about -1 million, was like 2K, where you have like dialogue options and you can say shit, that would have been like -50 team chemistry plus, I'm not going to get that many fans from that. I mean, he's right, but you know what I mean? Like throwing your defense under the bus like that. But it's not different when Jamar did it. I don't know. But they're right is the thing. Plus 5,000 fans, -50% team chemistry, plus 5,000 fans. I lost that one. I'll rebound with guessing numbers later. Something like that, though. We talked about this very, very briefly in the last episode. One of you guys sent in an email where you were like, hey, like, who's a coach that you think could be fired today and somebody could be brought in and they would, just who should be fucking fired is basically what it is. And I threw out there off the top of my head, I was like, I don't know, man. This Zach Taylor thing with the Bengals where seemingly every single year he gets the Burrow pass where when inevitably Joe Burrow is dealing with some injury and he misses some time and then the Bengals, accidentally their way out of the playoff hunt. That's sort of the scapegoat is like, well, he didn't have his quarterback. That's not a bad scapegoat, by the way. That's like a real thing. He doesn't have his quarterback. But my argument was, I don't know, man. You've done nothing. The Bengals made the Super Bowl, 4 years ago against the Rams? They're not investing on the offensive line. That defense is little league shit. And that does reflect in some way on the head coach. It just does. You work in conjunction with your executives and with your general manager. And no, you're not the one that's directly pulling the strings, but and you're not the one that in a lot of these instances has the final say. But I just think that they just need to completely clean house. I really think that they do. And I think that, I don't know. I wonder how much of I watched Joe Flacco with this offensive line and you compare it and contrast it to Joe Burrow. And sometimes I just wonder if the reason that Joe Burrow takes as many sacks as he does is because of the way that he likes to play. Joe Flacco just gets the ball out immediately. Now, you could argue that that's because he's a million years old and he doesn't want to keep getting blindsided, and he's just like, Aaron Rodgers is actually another really good example of this. Is from the time from the second that it snapped to when the ball leaves his hand, I would imagine at this point in the season, Aaron Rodgers is still like number one in the league. That motherfucker, he's not letting anything develop. You're getting the ball immediately. You know what I mean? Get down the field, and I'm throwing you the ball. Flacco's kind of the same. I just think that Burrow could be a lot better about that too. I think he really likes to run, but like he's not Josh Allen. You know, he's not Lamar Jackson. Who's Joe Burrow kind of like? There's a really good one in here. I don't want to say like Big Ben. Where like, man, if you remember Big Ben, that guy would get out of the pocket sometimes and he would do some sick shit. He was so fun, man. He was just so dumb. Crazy game. I don't want to. I guess I got nothing else. I actually do. I just forgot where I was going with that, so I'm sorry. Lay, let's do the thing that I was supposed to talk about at first, though. I spent even more time on that than I was supposed to. Sorry about that. I'm going to apologize 100 times today for things that I don't even have to apologize for. Up next, Bills versus Chiefs. Folks, this is the single best matchup in the National Football League. This, to me, really is, like, I just think it's the best. I don't think there's a single game, a single matchup in an NFL calendar season outside of, obviously, the Super Bowl and playoff games that I just, I don't care what I got going on in my life. If the Bills and the Chiefs are playing, I got to watch this game, right? Because there are not two teams in the NFL that get more out of each other than these two teams do when they play each other. You know what I mean? These two teams are so well coached and they're so well disciplined and these rosters are so supremely talented that this matchup, the last, 6 years, delivers every single time. And guess what? The day that I'm taping this, we're like 3 hours removed from that game ending, not even an hour or two removed from that game ending. Yep. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. And Nance and Romo on the call, my favorite broadcast booth. Pound for pound, I believe the best broadcast booth in sports right now is Jim Nance and Tony Romo. Right? I don't know. Let's just explain the end of the game. Matt Prater, 20 seconds left of the game, doinks it off of the upright to ice the game. Now the Chiefs have life. There's 22 seconds left in the game. No timeouts. Patrick Mahomes just has to go 60 yards, and that's it. And this was on the heels. The last drive that the Chiefs had, they converted a fucking 4th and 17. A 4th and 17. Because the Bills were like, hey, let's rush 3. Maybe it was 4. Let's rush just 3 or 4 guys and let all these routes develop downfield and give Patrick Mahomes all of the time in the world to find these super speedy receivers. Let's do that. I'm the Bills defensive coordinator, and welcome to Jackass. This is giving Patrick Mahomes all the time in the world to make a play on 4th and 17. And then, folks, he did. End of the game, he did not. He didn't, but it was way too tall of a there was no way. You know what I mean? There was no way. But, man, it was such a fun game. And it was the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career that his completion percentage was lower than 50%, that he completed less than half of his passes. Crazy. Bills defense was, pretty good today. I think you saw moments from the secondary, from the linebackers, specifically like Matt Milano. I just think he's so damn good. And then on the defensive line, it was nose tackles, it was edge rushers. Joey Bosa had a moment in this game. It's crazy to me still. I just haven't wrapped my brain around the fact that he's there. And the fact that he's just not, I still don't really understand what happened in San Francisco with him. I know he kept getting hurt, but were they just like, hey, we're kind of done with the whole racist thing and you can go be in Buffalo now? I have no idea. Josh Allen did it again. 2 wins in a row against, what happened in the playoffs last year? What happened? The Ravens and the Bills played. And then is that how that fucking happened? I'm sorry. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm just thinking, my brain was like Josh Allen has won 2 in a row because I was thinking of him at the end of the game last year when he just went full berserk beast mode earthquake, or beastquake is where I was going with that. Beast mode earthquake, sure, it was the same thing. When he had that nasty touchdown run at the end of the game to essentially, win the game. I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head what happened in the playoffs, so I don't want to say, he's 2-0 in his last 2 matchups. I just can't remember this is going to piss me off. I don't remember what happened. Man, I feel kind of dumb, honestly, because I'm the one who, like, 6 weeks ago was kind of getting, like, not on my soapbox about it, but I was like, these Kansas City receivers just aren't good. And I think that the organization has done such a bad job investing in the receiving core in Kansas City. I don't want to walk that back because I don't think I was wrong at the time that I said that, especially if you used the last 365 days as a track record. But I do have to say I'm wrong about that right now. I am now wrong about that. I don't know if I was then, but now I'm definitely wrong. And these guys are good, right? Who's that kid, number 80? Thornton? I like him. I really like him. Rashee Rice being back. Look, I know he had some stuff that happened to him in the offseason. I'm not trying to do a whole separate the art from the artist thing. And honestly, as soon as I said Rashee Rice is when it popped back up. I wasn't thinking about that the whole day, honestly, that he had that whole thing happen. He's a good receiver. He's a good football player. Hollywood Brown, yeah, got to work somewhere with him. It's crazy that it didn't end up working in Baltimore. Remember, I swear it was week 1, his rookie season, Hollywood Brown, when he was in Baltimore. Wasn't it like week 1 that he had like 3 touchdowns and 200 yards receiving? I remember I was starting him. Whatever the stat line was, I remember I was starting him in fantasy that week. Woo! And additionally, fuck Juju. Fuck that guy. Hate him. I don't think he should be in the league. I think he's terrible. And Travis Kelce, a guy who a year ago looked dead and like halfway out of the league and like he didn't really care anymore and he kind of just wanted to like do something else, like podcast and like do TV like his brother does and then just like be a trad husband because he has a billionaire fiance. At the time, he didn't have a billionaire fiance. It was just a billionaire girlfriend. And it kind of looked like he was on his last leg, I think, in a lot of ways, Travis Kelce. Man, what the hell? This year he's got a third leg. Well, that's a terrible way to phrase it. Maybe it's not if you ask his billionaire fiance. She wrote a whole song about it. Guy's got a redwood. But he looks completely reinvigorated this season. Completely. My favorite thing about Travis Kelce, and this is well documented, and people always love to talk about this, but the way that you're coached when you run a hitch route or a curl, and all that is, for those who maybe don't know, you run 5, 7, 10 yards, depending on coverage and all this shit. You literally just run straight, and then you hard cut into the ground, turn around back towards the quarterback, and then if it's man coverage, DB's going to fly away from you, right? And you'll create some separation. What you're supposed to do when you catch that ball on the curl is your instinct is going to be to turn inside and go upfield, well, inside. What you are coached to do is to turn to your outside shoulder and take the sideline because instinctively the defensive back will go inside and try to get the ball, right? Travis Kelce, better than anybody that I've ever seen do this in my entire life, does exactly that. But he'll catch the ball on a hitch route and he'll immediately put 2 hands over it. And then like a turtle, he does it so slow, but it works every single time. He turns outside shoulder to the sideline, both hands on the ball, head down, and just kind of waddles for like 5 yards until somebody stops him. And sometimes they don't. And sometimes this was more like, a couple years ago when he would just break off these crazy runs and maybe break some tackles or something. But he just, again, man, he's got a gear to him this year. That you watch this Chiefs team, and the same way that, like, yeah, I'm bitter about some stuff going on with the Lions right now, but, like, I really believe in my heart that they're going to be fine, but they just need to get their shit kicked in a little bit. Kansas City is another team that there's literally zero chance that they don't make the playoffs, despite the fact that, I mean, we did the playoff picture for the NFC. It's even crazier in the AFC, especially after this game. I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. As of this taping, after this game against Buffalo, Kansas City is out. They're not in the playoff picture. Well, they're in the playoff picture, but they're not in anymore. The 1 seed is Indianapolis. I mean, yeah, man, it's cool. It's fun, but at some point, and I don't want to just be a total dickhead about this. Daniel Jones, through these first 9 games that they've played, shocking. Some of these throws, some of these runs, this pocket presence, truly the best, up to this point, the best season that he's ever played. Outstanding, right? Jonathan Taylor, I think it's really exciting that he finally is playing on a team that has a winning record and is playing games that matter. because that's a really, really talented back. And he otherwise would have just kind of been like Barry Sanders into the ground, where you're this supremely talented back, and it literally doesn't matter at all. At least I guess the Lions were making it to playoff games with Barry, but, they weren't winning anything meaningful. Tyler Warren, another guy, just a dog, just a wagon. And I almost feel like I owe Colts fans an apology to some extent, because the draft in April, I swear to God, man, the Tyler Warren pick, I think, was my single favorite in the entire draft. Such a likable guy, such a weapon at Penn State. And to put him in this Colts offense, boy, has he just been special. And so it's cool for them right now that they're the 1 seed, but like fuck off a little bit. The 2 seed is New England. Is that worse somehow? The Patriots, I'm not trying to take away from, some of these insane games that Drake May has had this year. He's really had some special games. And again, not again, but also has made some very, very special throws. Their schedule is embarrassing. It's not their fault. All they're able to do is play the team that's in front of them. It is what it is. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Out of the rest of the teams that they played this year, aren't the Ravens like the only good team? And like now that Lamar's back, we can say like they're probably gonna be okay. Ravens fans were so sure that Lamar was faking an injury until he missed 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Whoops-a-daisies. Broncos are third. No notes. Love that. Love me some Bo Nix. I love it. I don't care. Fine. Steelers are fourth. Whoa. The Steelers beat the Colts today, right? They played each other. Steelers beat the Colts. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been awesome. It's been awesome. Talk about Joe Flacco earlier. The game that Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco played against each other was shocking. It's awesome. They're the 4th seed. I don't think that's going to stand, but I don't know. It's cool. Leading the division right now. Buffalo moves up to the 5th seed. Chargers are in 6th. Jags are in 7th. And Kansas City in 8th place. So here's the question. Here's my question is and don't take what I'm about to say too literally. Just think about it more in principle. I'm not talking about when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not talking about the way that these guys play and comparing it to these other people that I'm going to say. just stay with me, and you just use your damn brain and you'll know what I'm saying here. Okay. So if Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen is this new generation's version of Brady versus Manning, what does that make Lamar versus Burrow? Right? Because I think in this instance, Mahomes would be Brady, Josh would be Peyton, and then Lamar is... Like, Lamar versus Burrow, to me, we compared Burrow... I think you could do the Big Ben thing with him. I really think you could. A guy who just has a weapon for an arm. The way that the mobility that Roethlisberger had at certain points throughout his career was just shocking. Joe Burrow has got that. He's got some wheels, but he's also built like a normal person. But the connective tissue that really, by the way, both like elite quarterbacks that super early on in their career went to a Super Bowl. The only difference being that Ben Roethlisberger won his against Seattle in was it 05 or 06? I think it might have been the 05 season, and then it was the 2006, like February of 2006 that they won the Super Bowl. That might have been what it was. The real connective tissue is that very famously, Ben Roethlisberger was like the most hurt or injured player that has ever stepped foot onto an NFL field, and had a career that lasted forever, that lasted for like 2 decades almost. You could not see that guy off of the field without him having like for real 6 ice packs taped to his legs, or rather to his arms, and then his legs would be in those like, those like compression, like vacuum things that you can put your legs into, and it like squeezes, and it's like plastic, not plastic bags, but some of you are going to know what I'm talking about. He's always in those. He's always got something going on with him. Joe Burrow, man, he's always got something going on with him. So let's do it. Let's say that Joe, and in this instance, I guess I am comparing sort of the way that they play and sort of the way that they are. So that's the unique case, right? Because I can't compare Lamar to like anybody that would have been playing in the era that like Michael Vick. Well, Michael Vick wasn't in this pantheon of guys that we're talking about. Because in this instance, if Mahomes versus Allen is Brady versus Manning, and we've established that Joe Burrow is going to be Ben Roethlisberger in this case, who's he playing? He's playing Lamar, but is that Drew Brees? Is that Phillip Rivers? Is that Trent Dilfer? No, I'm just not throwing Trent Dilfer in there. Shout out to UAB. Yeah, it's got to be Brees or Rivers, right? Come on, Nick. There's one that you're not thinking of. Sean Hill? I don't think he counts. Jay Cutler? I don't think he counts, bro. I don't think you're going to put him in the same conversation as Phil Rivers and damn Drew Brees. I'm going to go with Brees. I just never was a big Phillip Rivers guy. I loved LaDainian Tomlinson. I loved Antonio Gates. Phillip Rivers, like, it seems like a really cool dude, but as a quarterback, I just never really got on board with him. Yeah, I'll go Brees. So it's, but that's not a good one because Big Ben versus Drew Brees, like, wasn't like a thing that people like cared about. Eli? Big Ben versus Eli? No. Who am I not thinking of? This is gonna piss me. I mean, I was moments away from forgetting about Eli. So I mean, who knows? Who knows who I'm forgetting right now? Texans? No, I'm thinking. I mean, that's like Matt Schaub type shit. You know what I mean? Cardinals? I mean, Kurt Warner? Like, no, it's not Ben Roethlisberger versus Kurt Warner. Seattle? Hasselbeck? No. Chiefs? Alex Smith? No. Vikings, Sam Bradford. Is it Favre? No, Ben Roethlisberger and Brett Favre. That wasn't like a thing. Who was like Ben Roethlisberger's like evil muse, like his dark muse? It probably would have been Brady, but we can't double up on Brady. I'm twisting my brain into a pretzel here. I don't know how this is gonna sound when you listen to it. I'm in the weeds and I'm seeing ghosts. I'm seeing like faces of quarterbacks that I can't even remember their names, but I can also like the names are rattling around in my head. Was it Dolphins quarterback Brock Osweiler? No, I don't think Big Ben had any battles with Brock Osweiler. I always think of him more as a Denver guy anyways. Andy Dalton? Now you're not even trying, dude. The last two names that I'm not even trying anymore. Mark Sanchez? Did we talk about the Mark Sanchez thing on this show? How he tried to like kill a guy and then a guy tried to kill him? And now he's in jail awaiting trial? Well, not awaiting sentencing. No way they would have expedited that for whatever reason. In a holding cell? I don't know. Keep an eye on Mark Sanchez. I'm just going to move on because clearly I'm spinning the tires. I'm going absolutely nowhere with this one. Okay, that's your NFL recap this week, folks. Let's move on to the NBA, where we saw something bizarre unfold in the Memphis Grizzlies, Los Angeles Lakers game. We mentioned briefly up at the top about Luka and how he's just been out of this world recently. This is going to be about Ja, but just very briefly, let me get this Luka thing off really quick. It's nothing crazy. Everybody's saying the same thing. Just damn. While I'm taping this, he's averaging like 45 points a game. Everybody's been pointing out that he's averaging more points than Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Cooper Flagg combined. I don't really know why Klay is thrown in there. I think it's just for the sake of juicing the stat. The real thing is that he's just averaging more points than AD and Cooper Flagg. I mean, that's the real take, is that they're those are the two guys that were involved in not directly involved in the trade, but you all have brains. You know what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, man. I people doing this thing. I've seen this commentary a lot with Luka, where it's like, oh man, like it's crazy. Like maybe Nico was kind of right about the weight, and like maybe like why didn't he just do this earlier? And I'm like, girl, you've never seen somebody, I don't know, go through a breakup and to get back at their ex, they just get in really good shape. Like the fuck. Like especially if you got broken up with. And then your significant other was like, yeah, we did it because he was fat as hell. And like he refused to get in shape and he just kept smoking hookah and like drinking beers. And we didn't fuck with that at all. And so we traded him in the middle of the night and it just kind of happened. We just did it because fuck him. And that's why. Yeah. yeah, spite is a powerful thing, and I think that's sort of just what happened here. And I think over the summer, a lot of us were kind of like, "Is this real? He's he's in really good shape. Is this a real thing?" And then he started playing games, and oh my God, is it a real thing? Oh my God, is it a real thing? And the whole like, well, maybe they don't even need LeBron. Shut up. Shut up. They're really fun right now, though. No, the Lakers were playing Memphis. And, man, you have never in your life seen Ja Morant as despondent and as disconnected as he was in that game. There was one moment, I think this was a moment that Blake Griffin called out on the post-game broadcast when he did a whole spiel that I think was really enlightening, where he was not on some hater shit. He was just like, hey, man, I don't know if something's going on with y'all. Like, I don't know if he's hurt, but, like, here's this possession of him just standing in the corner, like, having a conversation with Marcus Smart and kind of not, like, involving himself in the play or doing anything. And then on, like, the opposite end of the floor, he's just kind of, like, walking around with the ball, and he'll just kind of pass out of, like, a defender, you know, is in his face, and he'll just pass out of it and kind of, like, walk over to the wing and just kind of stand there, and whatever actions they're running, Ja's just kind of like whatever. And apparently that's because he's not involved in the actions. And this is part of the ruckus with the new coach after a mutiny occurred against Taylor Jenkins like 2 days before the regular season ended, like 6-7 months ago. And I don't know, you get to the post-game locker room and Ja has this just terrible game, and It's crazy, man. It's one of those instances where you read the quotes of what Ja was saying after the game, where he's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, you got to ask the coaching staff. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm fine, but you got to ask the coaching staff. The quotes read bad. The quotes read like, oh, whoa, trouble in paradise. What's going on in Memphis? But then you watch the video of him actually doing the availability, and it somehow was worse. And somehow, like, his body language and the actual delivery of what he was saying was just terrible and kind of seemingly out of nowhere. Like I think look, I don't want to speak for everybody here, and maybe I'm just missing something, and if I am missing a piece of the puzzle here, please leave it down in the comments. This just is like kind of coming out of nowhere, and I don't like to go 0 to 100 like this, where you just see Ja Morant like go fucking nuts. Like he didn't go nuts. I don't want to say he just kind of like is pissed about something, and we kind of don't really know what, other than like they're not using him the way that. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I don't really know where this is coming from. Sparking all these trade rumors with Ja Morant, and December 15th couldn't come soon enough. That's a Sacramento King if I ever seen one. I don't know. Maybe it is. I think we just need to start letting this guy play with guns again. I think maybe that's what it is. Is maybe he just needs something to, like, some extra, like, curricular shit. You know what I mean? Because as soon as we took Ja Morant's guns away, he started getting hurt, and he stopped being good at basketball. He's not good at basketball, but you know what I'm saying here. He's not the guy who finished like 7th in MVP voting and was averaging like 28 points a game. And that's maybe another piece of commentary is I don't think there is a guy in the NBA who has been in the league for 7 years who has just kind of been the same guy the entire time, who is a number one option on a team. He's kind of just been the same guy the whole time. He's just averaging more points a game and is getting less efficient. It's kind of all that it is. Let me see if I can just pull this up offhand, because I actually haven't. I'm going to put a hand up here. I have not looked this up. This is my eyes telling me this. So let's do this really quick. Let's go to Basketball Reference. Let's look up Ja Morant, and let's see if my assumption of him just kind of being the same guy for the last 7 years is kind of, has it been 7 years? So I got it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the dot. Perfect. Guy plays games. This has never really been an issue for him, other than a couple years ago when he got hurt and he only played 9. He's played 67, 63, 57, 61, 9, 50, and then this year at 6, which I imagine is all of them outside of the one game that he did get suspended for the comments that he made. Should have included that. He did get suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. I'm sorry, I got the stats right here. Let me say this really quick, too, on the whole Ja Morant thing. Just to add to my, like, what the hell is even going on? What even happened here? So the day that I'm taping this, Sunday morning, Shams Charania goes on SportsCenter. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. And the host, the anchor, is like, hey, Shams, what's up? So what's going on here? Like, are we good? Like, is he good? And Shams was just kind of like, yep, sounds like the coaches are mad, and he was suspended, and he should come back against Detroit on Monday. And he didn't really explain anything. He didn't really give us any insider information of like, okay, but like what actually happened here? So it's kind of a nothing burger all the same. But let's see, folks. I got to pull it up right here. Let's see if my claims of Ja Morant being kind of just the same guy but averaging more points and being less efficient over the last 7 years is true. So rookie year, he won Rookie of the Year. So this is points per game going from rookie year to right now. I'll do round numbers. 17, 19, 27, 26, 25, 23, and then right now, I'll juice them a little bit. I'll round up to 21. Okay? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Those points are kind of going down. Now, granted, was it 2 years ago was when he only played 9 games, and that's when he was averaging 25. But I don't know. Last year, he played 50, and he averaged 23. So okay. Assists, yeah, pretty much the same every year. 7.3, 7.4, 6.7, 8.1, 8.1, 7.3, 6.7. Rebounds, yeah, like kind of just the same forever. Let's go field goal percentage. 47, 44, 49, 46, 47, 45, 40. Oh, that's interesting. So what did I just find here? 47, 44, 49, 46, 47, 45, 40. Okay, kind of down, kind of up and down, kind of like, kind of just always the same guy. 3-point percentage. I don't really think of Ja Morant as a 3-point shooter, which I would also argue is kind of part of the problem, is that he's a guy who I just think of him as a inside 15 feet player or a facilitator, and he just hasn't really developed his outside shot. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if the numbers would back that up. Again, this is all going from rookie year to right now. From 3, Ja Morant, 33%, 30%, 34, 30, 27, 30. This year, 15. And this is on like, I don't know, like medium volume. We're talking like 5 attempts a game is the general average here. His average for his career is 4.3. This year he's shooting 5 a game and he's making 0.8 of them. So yeah, I don't know. I guess there's 2 ways that you can look at this, right? You can say he's been the same guy forever and kind of hasn't added that much to his game. He's not a 0 on defense, but I don't really think of him as a defensive player. Let's see. Is there anything? I know this Basketball Reference will show me. Is there something I'm missing where he's like made an all, or like, no, he hasn't made an all defensive team. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Like, you can look at it the way that I'm trying to frame it, which is he's been the same guy forever in like a derogatory way, in a bad way. Or you could say he's just consistent and the guy that he is just the guy that he is. I don't think that's a bad counter argument, but I would just say to that, like, that's who you want to be your guy. That's your cornerstone, is the guy who is just kind of the same. It's just kind of the same. Love it when he yams. Love it when he gritties. Love it when he does like funny shit. Love it when he throws like fake grenades into the crowd. Very funny. But he's just always been the same guy. And I just wonder where it goes from here. You talk about, well, in the last episode we talked about, there's going to be a guy in a couple months. This is just how it goes in the NBA. Around the trade deadline, we're going to be talking about a guy getting moved that right now we had no idea was available or was going to be available, right? And so it's just a matter of like throwing a dart at a board and just trying to guess who that guy might be, I mean, I don't know. Did we just find one, or is that what just happened? Did we just find one? Are we overreacting is maybe the better question here. Is this just going to blow over and we just kind of need to let this new coaching staff, new regime, however you want to phrase this, kind of work their magic and let everybody get on the same page, and then maybe they'll be fine? The only thing that pisses me off is like Grizzlies fans tricking themselves into thinking that was it a 2 seed that they got a couple of years ago mattered? It mattered. I'm not going to be an asshole like that. Of course it mattered. That was awesome for them. They played great. That whole season, they won a bunch of games, and that was the year that Ja, I think, finished like 7th in MVP. I believe it was. Was that the year that he won Most Improved too? Was an all-star. Yeah, but as the 2 seed, I may have made the argument at the time, and maybe in retrospect, that most teams probably would have picked to play Memphis in that first round. They lost to the Lakers, I think, in the first round, didn't they? Someone can fact check me on that. Probably anybody would have picked to play them. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, are you trading Ja? I don't know. Sacramento sounds funny. Seems pretty funny. You could that's a lot of money on that team too. You send back Levine, make it work that way. You want DeMar? Like, I don't know. How do you want to do this? You put Ja Morant and Russell Westbrook on the same team. Maybe that's honestly how you do this, is you just using Sacramento as a for instance. Is you attach whatever money you have to, whether it be, you're not going to put Keegan Murray in that deal. I don't think, but I don't know that Memphis would do it without getting Keegan Murray back in the deal. You're not getting Sabonis, right? So maybe it's LaVine, like the best worst player of all time, or it's DeMar DeRozan. I don't think Memphis is going to want anything to do with him. And then, but whoever it ends up being, you just attach Russ with it. You know what I mean? So that you're kind of like supplementing the Ja shit with just a guy who does the same stuff, but like is older and like can't do all of the same stuff anymore as far as like the explosive first step. You know what I mean? The 3 ball is probably going to 15%, probably going to be the exact same, probably going to be somewhere in the same range with Russell Westbrook as it would be with Ja Morant. No, I don't know. What other teams would be in the mix? I've seen people talk about Phoenix. It would be pretty funny if Phoenix was like, hey, remember 3 months ago when we finally broke up the band and we grew our brain and we were like, oh, we spent way too much money and this team stinks and these players aren't good, and they broke up the trio of KD, Book, and Beal. What if they didn't learn from their mistakes? And Matt Ishbia is a moron, so he may not have. And they trade for Ja Morant? It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Be funny if it did, but it's not going to happen. Houston, I think, is the team that is like, uh-oh. But is that who you want? Is that who you want? If you're Houston and you want a point guard right now, it's my point guard and I need it now. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 Ja now. You know what I mean? Type shit. Nah, I don't know. What are you going to do? Fred VanVleet. Reed Shepherd is definitely getting moved. Thank God. And then he just gets to exist in purgatory. He just gets to exist in Memphis and play basketball that literally doesn't matter. Would love that for him. You got Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd. Who else are you putting in that deal? Does that money work right there? They got a lot of picks, don't they? Houston does? I think they do. No, they don't. Because they just moved them in the KD deal. I don't think they moved that many. I think they got some shit in the tank. I think they can move. I don't know what it is. But it starts with Fred VanVleet. Obviously, you're not going to do that deal if you still have him on the team. Ja Morant. Toronto? What do you think about Toronto? Nah. They got stuff, but like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? You think Ja wants to be in Canada? He might. I don't know. It's unknowable. It's unknowable where Ja Morant wants to be. But right now, it sounds like it's not Memphis. What else happened this weekend, folks? Well, I mean, the craziest game 7 that we've seen since, I really believe since the Cubs Indians game in 2016. I don't know how to start this World Series segment. The Dodgers have won the World Series again, ladies and gentlemen. It happened. Back-to-back World Series champions. They said it couldn't be done. They said spending $1.5 billion, 1.2 rather, billion dollars in contracts, and then deferring $900 million of those contracts. So your official payroll this year was like $300 million, which was the highest in baseball. They said it couldn't be done. They said that the most ridiculous collection of all-stars and former MVPs that has ever been assembled in the history of American sports couldn't win back-to-back World Series. But they did. They proved the haters wrong for the first time in a quarter century. We have a repeat champion in Major League Baseball. And it was not without, once again, one of the most batshit insane games I have ever. Man, baseball is boring until it isn't. You know what I mean? Until it's not. And then my heart rate got up to, I could pull it up, 114 last night. It was 113 or 114 last night. Yeah, I could not tell you at what point in the game that it was. I think it might have been was it the bottom of the 9th that the Blue Jays had the bases loaded and there was one out. And Yamamoto, it's like, dog, I don't remember who was at the plate, but it's like, dog, if you walk him, you lose the World Series. Like, you have to throw strikes here. You know what I mean? And he gets out of that. Rojas had the most, it's going to be impossible, by the way, for me to recap like every insane play that happened in this game. Rojas has this throw to home plate where I don't remember who the runner was, but I swear it was a pinch runner. And he had on like the protective base running gear on his hands, but he slid feet first into home plate. He like didn't have a lead at third at all. Chopper gets hit to second. Miguel Rojas off balance. I thought he was going to try to go for the double play. He immediately, because they would have gotten out of the inning, he immediately throws home. And then by, fractions of inches, they secure the out. And literally the next at bat was who did Kike Hernandez get railroaded by? Andy Pages. Kike Hernandez out in left field trying to go on some like Willie Mays shit, trying to like send this thing to extras, like trying to look over his head and like do it. Andy Pages I keep saying fucking Pages. Andy Pages just comes over, railroads him. Give me the fucking ball. Give me that shit. And it goes to extras, man. Max Muncy, home run. Gut punch. Miguel Rojas, home run. Gut punch, man. Will Smith, top of the 11th. I mean, how do you want to make this joke? The hardest that a rock has been smacked since the Oscars? Will Smith won the World Series for the Dodgers in 11 innings. And Yamamoto, a guy who, it's a little under a year ago, whenever it was that he signed this contract with the Dodgers, 12 years, $325 million. And I will never forget when people were like, this guy has never pitched, a single pitch in Major League Baseball. You give him 12 years, $325 million. By the way, the Dodgers were they weren't even the highest bidders. That was the Phillies. So if he went to the Phillies and he did this shit, people would have been, I don't know, whatever. It's because he went to the Dodgers. I don't know. That guy throws 96 pitches in game 6, and then on 0 days rest comes in and collects the last 8 outs of the World Series, gets out of a bases loaded jam in the bottom of the 11th. What was it? First and third, I think that they had. And he got out of it, man. 3 wins in the World Series. I believe all of them were on the road. The last time that a pitcher won 3 games in a single World Series was Randy Johnson in 2001, the big unit, right? It's 24 years ago. The last time before that, 67, believe it was 68 or 67. So 40 years before that, 30 and change before that, right? And then I think it was like 50s and 50s and 40s. Because then at that point, then you go further back and the sport's not even real at that point. Integration wasn't a thing. So it was just a bunch of damn Italians and white guys just hitting the ball back and forth at each other, beaming each other in the head and shit like that. I feel like I'm really doing this shit a disservice, man. I've just been wrestling, man. Like, what do I want to call it? Is it the greatest Game 7 I've ever seen? Nah, I can't say that, man. That's prisoner of the moment. We gotta be further removed from it. You know what I mean? Time has to pass. I can confidently tell you it is one of the 5 best Game 7s I've ever seen. One of the 5 best winner-take-all games I've ever seen in my life because, and the only reason I make that stipulation instead of just saying Game 7 is because the 2022 World Cup final between Argentina and France was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever seen in my life. And I think that has to be included here. I think the best case scenario for this Game 7 is that it ends up in my top 3. And that would be Cavs Warriors 2016 Game 7, of course, even though I was on the wrong end of that one. And so it's sort of, I don't really like that memory, but just objectively, from a historical perspective, when I take my loser cap off, that's got to be number 1. And then number 2, like I said earlier, was Chicago versus Cleveland in the, again, 2016 World Series. Game 7, the Cubs win the World Series. I miss Joe Buck calling baseball so much. Joe Davis is amazing, incredible voice for baseball. Love him. But there is, to me, something about Joe Buck not being in baseball that I do think stinks a bit. What else would be? I don't really want to sit here and, rank all these Game 7s and winner-take-all games. I'm the one that, I guess, brought it up. I don't know, Detroit sports ones. Like, I don't really count, like, Lions playoff games as, like, winner-take-all. Because, like, yeah, of course it is. But you know what I mean? It's just, like, if it was the Super Bowl, I would, of course, say that. Because I guess maybe that's sort of the broader spectrum here is, like, you also have to include, I genuinely believe you have to include this game somewhere in the pantheon of the 28-3, was that Super Bowl 51? 52? 2017 or 2018, Patriots are down 28-3 in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons in the third quarter, and they end up winning the damn game in overtime. One of the craziest things you'll ever see in your life as an American sports, well, not as an American sports fan, as an NFL fan. I just think this has to be up there with that. And we talk about Bills Chiefs. I mean, the 13-second game, the Josh Allen scores a touchdown. Chiefs got 13 seconds. Give the ball to Tyreek Hill. Well, Travis Kelce, I think, is what it was. And then it was Tyreek Hill. However the hell it went down. That was also one of those games, craziest games I've ever seen. That was winner take all, but that wasn't the Super Bowl, and I don't think I can count that because that was just. But it was one of the craziest. You see what I mean? I'm being too loose with my rules here, and it makes it hard to actually for me to have this conversation with myself. But I really do just want to emphasize that it was so bizarre. And I do want to read an email here. I believe they're a Blue Jays fan. I'll remember as soon as I start to read it. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Christian, welcome back to the show, brother. Subject line, Blue Jays. Hey, Nick, I am crushed. I'm heartbroken. I am a mess. I believed in this team. They had so much momentum. They had the power of friendship. They also lost Game 7 of the World Series in extra innings. Ernie Clement set a postseason record for hits. Vladdy set a Blue Jays franchise record for home runs. Trey Savage set multiple records for various things. The magic was so palpable, ethereal even. It oozed out of the screen. The country felt it. My city felt it. Halloween was basically canceled in Canada for the Blue Jays. I've never felt a more crushing loss. The Jays found ways to win so many games in the regular and postseason. This group looked and felt right. The magic was there, and it all fell apart with a lodged ball and then death by 1,000 cuts. I am sobbing. Brother, Christian. Sorry, I just destroyed the mic there. Apologies for that, Christian. This isn't really what you're going to want to hear, man, but we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of me starting this show. And you sent that email in, I think it was right after the game ended. And I remember reading it and being like, this is exactly why I started doing the show, because I wanted emails like this. And I wanted to know what it's like. I mean, of course, we all know what it's like. We've all sort of experienced something like this before. Not this. I have not experienced this. We haven't even talked about the lodged ball in Game 6. We didn't have a chance to, by the way, between the last show and this one. Both of these, Game 6 and Game 7, happened, so I wasn't able to. The lodged ball thing, man, for those who don't know, ball was, I can't do that. I can't do the lodged ball thing because I'm going to fuck it up. I stand on the side of, I think it's weird. The rule is the rule, and he wasn't wrong. I don't want to litigate. I'm not the guy to litigate this. I think it's a fucked up rule, but it's like when a dumb roughing the passer call, like a flag gets thrown on roughing the passer because a guy, I don't know, a quarterback gets hit in the head with a hand. Yeah, that's the rule. That doesn't mean it's not stupid as hell, Well, what happened with the ball getting lodged at the end of Game 6, it's the rule. It doesn't mean that it's not fucked up and it's not stupid and it's not wrong. I don't want to do this because it's such a minefield. I feel so bad that lodged ball thing happened. But let's do a Blue Jays thing here, dude, because, there's the argument that people were trying to make that the Blue Jays winning. Well, no, I guess that's not the argument. The argument was that the Dodgers winning would be better for the idea. Come on, Nick, you're so close. You're in the red zone with this. The idea that the Dodgers winning the World Series is that now when league meetings have to happen, people the Players Association or whoever the fuck can be hey, salary cap, salary floor, look at what the Dodgers are doing. They're ruining baseball. Dave Roberts, after the NLCS, was what if we win 4 more? They say we're ruining baseball. Well, let's go win 4 more games, and let's really ruin baseball. They did. Spent $1.2 billion on their roster this year. $900 million of that is in deferred money. The hell? Huh? That can happen? Yeah. Yeah, it can. And I think this Dodgers team, who didn't have not a massive payroll, by the way, just to be totally fair, but the way that they have paid guys is just fundamentally and ethically different from the way that the Dodgers have done it. And I would be naive to not acknowledge that, okay? Dodgers have a payroll that is unheard of, but the Blue Jays also have a fucking massive payroll, okay? A lot of that does come down to the extension that Vladdy signed. I guess I don't know if that actually kicked in this year, but regardless, people wanted the Jays to win, man. They wanted them to win. They were the better team. They just were. I mean, the Dodgers going into Game 7 were hitting 191 as a team. I think by the end of it, it was like 201 or something. Doug, the Blue Jays outscored the Dodgers for the entire series. And they lost in 7 games. I think they might have outscored them by like somewhere between like 8 and 12 runs, something like that. I'm sorry, I just don't have it up in front of me right now. But they outscored them. And you're right, dude. There was that moment, was at the bottom of the 9th, that it really, for a moment, a fraction of a second, looked like Vladdy was about to walk that shit off, like deep center field, like straightaway center field, and he just got under it too much, just a little bit too much. And it was, I don't know, 30 feet short of the wall. But I was on the edge of I was pacing around for the last like 6 innings of this game. Not quite that long, but I don't think I'm doing your Jays a good, rather I'm doing them a disservice. I feel terrible. I feel so bad. Like, they were the better team, and it's crazy because they do not have the better collection of players, but they played better. But they played better in the World Series, and it didn't matter. Because it's the fucking Dodgers, man. Because it's the Dodgers. And early in the game, people on Reddit, and even some of you guys were trying to email me saying some mean shit about Shohei Ohtani for reasons that are unknowable to me. But he was brilliant in this series. I mean, he got on base, 9 times? And what was the game that went 18 innings? Surely that wasn't Game 1. Got on base 9 times, got walked like 100 times in this series, hit a couple of home runs. Pitching just wasn't there. But I also think in that Game 7, that extra inning that Roberts tried to squeeze out of Shohei, putting him out there for the 3rd, it was clear that he didn't have it. After 2 innings, it was a damn miracle that he got out of there alive with no runs on the board, maybe a couple hits. I think he had 1 walk and a handful of strikeouts too, right? And the fact that he was able to get out, he just didn't have command. The velocity was there, but he had no command at all. And it looked like every time, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but it looked like every time Shohei was getting the ball back from the catcher and they had the camera on his face, he was not hitting the strike zone. He was all over the place. His body language was like, fuck, dude, I don't have it right now. And I just think Dave Roberts putting him out, and at the end, it didn't matter. That home run that Bo Bichette hit, it did not matter. Because the Dodgers ended up winning. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be Shohei's fault. I was a little bit worried about that. For the sake of the hashtag agenda, I was a little bit worried about that. Jays fans don't want to hear that right now. They don't. How about the defense, too? Especially from, Vladdy. Oh, my God. I didn't know he could, move like that. I didn't know that he could, get down. Just jump down the line and just, rip a ball out of the air. I didn't know that he could do that. I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game. Doesn't he have a Gold Glove or 2? So, but it's just not something that I track or that I really know that much about. So, man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, man. I kind of wish I led with the World Series because I had so much more, and I'm sorry, the episode's just kind of gone long, and so I feel like such an asshole right now. I had so much more that I wanted to say, and I should have written it down, but I've been thinking about it not all weekend. The game just happened yesterday, that I'm taping this at least. Dodgers did it again. They did it again, and I don't know that, them winning is going to, if it gets really serious, they'll just go into a lockout, whenever that would be in 2 or 3 years. Because I think what this problem is exposing with the Dodgers, maybe I'm, being arrogant here or whatever the word would be, but I think what you're seeing with a team that is willing to spend what they spend and their pockets run so deep, it's not like The other 29 owners in Major League Baseball are like 100,000aires. You know, they're not millionaires. They're fucking billionaires. All of these owners are billionaires. And so it's just like a willingness of the Dodgers to do what they do. There's a reason they have the best farm system. There's a reason that, and I'm not talking about Japan, by the way. That's a different farm system that the Dodgers have right now because they got 2 of them. Right? But I think the problem in baseball is that there's no evidence to suggest that a majority of these owners actually give a shit about winning at all. There's none. We don't know that for sure. Case in point, Chris Ilitch going to Tarik Skubal and being like, hey, a year ago, and being like, hey, here's 4 years for $77 million. Go fuck yourself. How about that? That's not a guy who's serious at all. Mike Ilitch rolling in his grave, son. Tarik Skubal would have been signed to a 12-year, $750 million contract. That's a lot. 10 years, $500 million a year ago, a winter ago. If Mike Ilitch were still alive, Tarik Skubal would be locked, and we would have control for the next 10 years. But we don't, because we don't know about these owners, because they cheap the fuck out, because they can. Because they can get away with it. The same way, which is why there's no longer baseball in Oakland. And the flip side of that is just that the Dodgers are like, yeah, well, here's a blank check. Here's a blank contract. You fill in the years, you fill in the dollar amount, and then just put your fucking signature there. And we'll pay it eventually. Probably not right now. But even the money that they're generating off of like merchandising and all that shit from Shohei alone is it's just going right back into the economy. And it's essentially just funding their ability to go after all these Japanese players. And so that's kind of where I'm like, why is that their problem? It's not right, and it stinks because it's not the team that you root for, but there's a non-zero chance that the team that you root for is owned by a cheapskate motherfucker. Right? And so let's say this was the Tigers. Let's throw out who's an insane team that if they were doing what the Dodgers were doing, and nobody could do what the Dodgers are doing unless you were the Yankees or the Mets, maybe the Red Sox. You know, these guys are going to the Dodgers because it's a massive market. It's one of the most recognizable brands in the entire world, that Dodgers blue, that Dodgers logo. You know what I mean? And so it's not just like that the Dodgers are willing to do it. It's because they're the Dodgers and they're willing to do it, right? Like in a lot of ways, no, the Tigers couldn't just blank check everybody. You know, the St. Louis Cardinals, they can't just blank check everybody. The Atlanta Braves, like these guys, you know what I mean? Like there are levels to it, and there are advantages that other markets have and other organizations have. 100%. But it's not binary. It's not one thing or another. I just think there are so many variables here, you know? Dodgers won the World Series. It happened again. What else do I got for you guys? There was one other thing. There's one other thing, and I don't remember what it was, and I'm between like 3 different things. Do you guys want to do Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson? Do you want to do the interview that they just did and the sort of, I don't know if fallout's the right word, but some really interesting stuff has sort of come out of that. Do you want to do, right before I tape this, I actually started taping like 30 minutes later than I wanted to because Trump was on, he did an interview with 60 Minutes. And it was right after the Bills-Chiefs game. And so I just really wanted to check it out. And I did. Do you want to talk about that? We could also talk about, what am I doing right now? None of you can answer me. I'll do this instead. Let's just, this has been a fun, lighthearted episode. Let's stick with lighthearted. Watched 2 movies in the last couple of days, last week. 2 movies that have come out this year. Mostly going to be spoiler free, I think. Mostly going to be spoiler free. If I'm about to say something, I will let you know, and you can do earmuffs. Okay. First one I saw. Watched this yesterday. Watched that new Jurassic World movie finally, the one with Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali. Yep, it's exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. It's exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. I don't even need to spoil anything in this movie. You know what happens. Have you seen all of the other movies? Congratulations. You saw this one too. I committed a sin. I committed a crazy sin. I've never done this before. This is how much I was like, let's fucking do that. Like, let's just get through this. I watched the entire 2.5 hour movie on ×2 speed. I will say, there were certain points in the movie that I would slow it down and I would go either like 1.25 or just like straight up normal speed. Just to like actually kind of like take it in, but no, and so that's where I don't want to be like, it's easy for me to be like, this movie stunk. It's like, yeah, because you were watching it twice as fast as you were supposed to. No fucking shit, it wasn't good. No, but it wasn't gonna be that good of a movie, regardless. It's so funny to me, like the irony in like a line in these new movies. This is like a new trilogy that's being started, but like so this is the new Scarlett Johansson trilogy, and then we had like the Chris Pratt trilogy, right? And like a pivotal thing that like kept being said in the Chris Pratt movies, especially the first one, was something to the effect of like, yeah, and they say it in this new one too with Scarlett Johansson, by the way. It's like, yeah, we had a lot of success opening up the parks originally, but over time, public interest kind of wanes and it fades away, and then eventually they don't care about dinosaurs anymore and they kind of need the next big thing, and so that's why we create these genetic hybrid dinosaurs. That's been the plot of like all of these new fucking movies, right? And that's really funny to me, just conceptually, that's something that a screenwriter had to, write into a damn computer while they were writing the new Jurassic World movie, where consistently we've been like, yeah, we don't need that. So we don't need the dinosaur movie. We don't need it. And then they're like, okay, we hear you. Let's genetically engineer these movies and make them something that they're not supposed to fucking be. Case and point. The reason that the Chris Pratt movies sucked, the first one I maintain is good. I really think it was good. We'll talk about maybe more about that in just a second. But the second two just ended up being about like, how do we clone people? That's basically what I got out of those last two movies. It had nothing to fucking do with dinosaurs. I thought the last like two movies, but mainly the last one, like, remember in the original second movie, Jurassic Park, The Lost World? Is that what it was called? The end of the movie when there's the T-Rex loose in this, was it San Diego? Remember that? How fucking sick that was? I thought the whole last movie of Jurassic World was going to be that. And like the original Jurassic Park gang getting back, which is a whole nother thing, by the way. You can't keep throwing these massive actors into movies like these, because the moment that they are in any sense of danger or peril whatsoever, there's no stakes. There's no stakes. What, you brought back Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum for this movie, and are you gonna kill them? You're gonna kill Dr. Ian Malcolm in this fucking movie? Obviously you're not. So that means I'm not tense when he's like face to face with the whatever the fuckosaurus. You know what I mean? And so in this movie, what's going to happen to Scarlett Johansson? Neither dick nor balls. What's going to happen to Mahershala Ali? Nothing. He's a great actor. That's it. He's just going to keep acting, and that's going to be the whole movie. Can I do one spoiler? It's going to be too wordy. It's not going to be worth explaining. I'm not even going to do the spoiler. The first Chris Pratt movie I thought was good. The original, like, Jurassic World, like when they first started bringing these movies back. I really did think it was fun. I thought it was a good movie because I think it did a good job of like putting a modern spin on like what it would be like, if like the park actually opened and people were actually able to go, like how people would interact and like what the attractions would be like and how people view these, these dinosaurs as like, business assets, which is something that was covered in the original movie, but you know what I mean? Like you're just seeing it play out in real time. I really thought it was a good movie. The second two I just thought were absolutely terrible. I don't think this one was terrible because, it wasn't good at all. I think it was offensively boring and flagrantly, I should flip that. Flagrantly boring and offensively predictable is what I should say. 51% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a little low. 71% critic. It's a little high. Probably somewhere in the middle, right? But I do think that this one was better than the last two Chris Pratt movies because it was actually about dinosaurs. Again, I don't know what the hell the last two movies ended up even being about, but it just wasn't. It wasn't dinosaurs. That's not how I remember it at all. There was like a kid, and she was like a clone. And there was like a technology that they were trying to, I don't know what those movies were about because they weren't about anything. But this new one was about dinosaurs, damn it. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. The other movie that I watched. I've been talking about this one, folks, for like a year. A year. I finally watched One Battle After Another. All right? I finally did it. I am not the type of guy to get in the weeds on this show with like symbolism and like, what did this mean? And like about movies. I really just like to keep that stuff to myself. Not in like a douchebag way. Like I just don't like talking about it. I hate having those conversations with people. It's just not, I just hate doing it. I don't like articulating how I interpret things. I'll talk about emotions and shit like that, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's a mental barrier. There's a block there. And I don't like to talk to people about movies. I've been waiting for One Battle After Another for a really long time. I've been pretty vocal in the past. If you're a regular listener of the show, I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson makes good movies outside of There Will Be Blood, which is one of the best movies that's ever been made. When I tell you, folks, also that Leonardo DiCaprio is my guy, any movie that he's in, I think is must see. I think he's the biggest box office hit, despite the fact that this movie technically did lose a lot of money. But it didn't matter because it was art. And when I tell you that the last time that I saw a movie that moved me this much, some of you are going to hate what I'm about to say, Civil War. And before that, I couldn't fucking tell you. I couldn't tell you. If I really thought about it, I could, but I don't. Civil War was so important to me, the Kirsten Dunst, Alex Garland movie. The reason that was so important to me was because for the longest time, like war correspondence is something that is really interesting to me, and that I believe in my heart that in another life I would have pursued, is like putting yourself in, bad situations kind of comes secondary to, documenting people's experiences and people's stories through, these absurd atrocities or these struggles or whatever it is. That is something that I just think is really important, and I have so much admiration for the men and women that do that. And so I was very excited for that movie, especially as somebody who loves Alex Garland. And I got to tell you, man, when I left that movie theater, I was like, this is why I go to the movies. And this was everything that I wanted it to be. People really didn't like that movie, but it was everything that I wanted it to be. Because people thought that it was going to be about the Civil War. I went into it knowing that it was about journalism. And so that's why I wasn't like, I just loved it. It wasn't an action movie. Like action shit happened in it, but that was not what the movie was. So this is very wordy. This is supposed to be about one battle after another. I'm just telling you, this movie was 2.5 hours long and it felt like 20 minutes. I thought it was one of the most thrilling and like gripping, thrillers, and essentially like a joyride that you're on for 2.5 hours that I've seen, and I don't know how long. It's paced brilliantly. It's acted brilliantly. It's written brilliantly. It's shot and framed brilliantly. I would not change a single thing about this movie. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I don't know. Sean Penn, by the way, give him the fucking Oscar. We don't need to do this. We really don't need to do this whole, who's going to win the Oscar? Sean Penn is going to win the Oscar. I don't know what it's going to be for, because this movie is going to be kind of weird. There might be 6 people nominated. 6 actors nominated in this movie for Oscars. Leo, Tiana Taylor, damn was she good. Boy, was she good in this one. I say this one. Has she been in any other movies? Shout out to Iman Shumpert. Oh, they did get divorced. So, Leo, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn. Is there 6? Is there one? That's 5. Is there one more that I'm not thinking of? Come on. No, that's basically it. What the fuck? There's got to be one more. That's 5. That's 5 people that are 100% going to get nominated for Oscars. There's just no way that. I don't know if Chase Infinity will, but she was very, very good too. I will say this is such the lightest spoiler in the world that literally does not even matter. It does a little bit. I'm so sensitive to spoilers. If somebody said this to me, I would be pissed off that they said this to me. So I'm going to say this really quick. Leo's character in the movie calls everybody homie, and I've always hated when people. I don't know why. Like a white person saying homie just has always pissed me off. I'm so in on that. Hearing Leo say it over and over and over and over in that movie, It's just in my brain because I'm like, oh, well, he's doing it, so that means I can do it too. Now, if I used that same principle of, well, Leonardo DiCaprio did it, so why can't I do it? With everything in my life, well, that may not go so well, and that may not be so smart. But in this instance, I see that, hey, you see that character that Leonardo DiCaprio played in Django? In that Django Unchained movie? I think his name was Calvin Candy Booth. You hear some of that stuff that fella said in that movie? I think I'd like to say some of that stuff. No, not that. And I also don't want to be a 50-year-old man who wears a flat cap and a face mask everywhere that I go in public, and I vape under my mask. And no matter where I go, I have a 19. Not 19. People still keep giving him shit about that. They say he only dates 19-year-old Israeli models. That's not true. His most recent girlfriend, and then as soon as they hit 25, he breaks up with them. That's what people say. That's not true. His most recent girlfriend turned like 26 or 27, and he didn't break up with her. So what the fuck? So what now? I don't want to do any of that, but I do want to say homie now. The guy just smokes weed. And is hilarious. It was a brilliant movie. The way that I'm talking about this is like super dumb, but I'm just trying to make it as spoiler-free as possible. I'm just trying to encourage people and direct them, shepherd them towards this movie. Because I really think it's worth your time. I really think it's worth your money. I think Benicio del Toro, for a guy who has cumulatively, 10 minutes of screen time, 15 minutes of screen time, I don't want to say steals the movie, but is so unbelievable in his role. And I cannot wait to watch it again. I watched it without my girlfriend, and I'm at some point, going to be able to show it to her. And boy, it couldn't have been. I think it was last I saw was 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think that's high enough. I really don't think it's high enough. It might be like 95 or 96. The movie blew my fucking head off. Sean Penn had one of the most. It's not terrifying. It was just, or like unsettling. I don't know what the word is for his performance, but he was one of the, I really do think that maybe this is the take, is that he is a blueprint or, I just think the way that we culturally view Heath Ledger's Joker as like, this is the pinnacle example of an antagonist, and specifically an antagonist of this universe. Like, this is how you're supposed to play a Joker, right? But like, also just as a villain, this is one of the best villains of all time. For a generation, right? I think this role that Sean Penn played as Lockjaw, holy smokes, man. Holy smokes. Out of this world brilliant. What else do I got for you guys? I got so much more. I want to talk about Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson so bad. I want to talk about them so bad because they said so much funny shit, and it really scared me. It was weird to me that Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes had a conversation, and Nick Fuentes is definitely like, I don't think Tucker was prepared for how wild that guy is, man. And I'm just, the Groypers just scare the shit out of me. And this whole America First thing, it scares me so much. Alrighty, folks. Spotify. You ever give up on a dream before? How about that? I'm trying to think. What's a dream that I've given up on? I don't know. I don't know that I really have. I don't think I've ever been very ambitious, and I don't know that I've really ever had any dreams. Like, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be like an actor or a comedian, and I knew that I was just like, I'm not good at anything, and I was like, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to pursue that, and I'm not going to do talent shows, and I'm not going to do theater because I'm an idiot, and I don't need to. I don't need to because, like, I'm going to go to Hollywood no matter what, and I don't need to do fucking theater in high school. No, it wasn't like that. I was just like, I don't care. I don't matter. And so I kind of just got my own way there. And then, I didn't have dreams of like playing football, professional. I mean, everybody does, but like, I knew what it was, so that I didn't really abandon that. I didn't really abandon my dreams in California. I got let go, and that wasn't my dream wasn't to like, I don't know. Was it my dream? When I took that job, man, I don't know what my dream was. I think I was just excited that somebody wanted me. I don't know that I've ever, like, I don't know that I've ever gotten to a point and been like, you know what? This thing that I've been pursuing for so long just isn't going to work out for one reason or another. And that's okay. And I'm just going to move on. But I think that's just because, again, I'm not really somebody who's ever thought long term. I think for so many years, like when you're 21, you're like, well, 23 doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, by the time I turn 23, like, who knows what I'm going to be doing? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not real. I don't plan for 5 months ahead or 5 years ahead. Like, it's a flaw of mine. I think too much about like 5 minutes ahead. And so, yeah, I guess maybe it's a bad question because I don't have an answer for you guys. But, you know, is there something that, whether it was school or a relationship or family or, you know, whatever it was, you just had to give up on something? And have you been able to reconcile with that? Do you resent whatever made you not be able to pursue that? Sort of a heavy question here at the end of the show, folks. I'm really trying to think. Surely there's something that I've just like, that I've completely punted on. No, even music. I've never wanted to. I knew that music was never going to be like a thing for me. I just do it because it's fun. Like, I don't want to be on a stage. Like, well, I do with like a microphone, but I just want to like talk. I guess my dream, no, I'll just say it. I think for the longest time, my dream was just to be like liked. And I'm not trying to say this in like a pick me way or like a way that, you know, I'm not trying to like fish for compliments. That's really not what I'm trying to do. So I don't want people to respond to what I'm saying. Like when I say what I'm about to say, I just mean this like very literally. Like I was so desperate to be accepted by such a wide range of people. And I tried so hard to like make everybody happy. Just like on the internet. And that's why for so long I just didn't handle criticism well, because I was like, fuck, there's like somebody out there who doesn't like me. And that's just kind of, you know, that's just part of being on the internet, and more specifically social media, I think, from such a young age. Like from the time I was like 9 years old, I was on Facebook. And even now, is that late? Like, are kids getting on social media earlier than that? I don't know. That's TikTok, maybe? YouTube? That doesn't really count to me as social media, but I don't know. Maybe it technically is. Just sort of like a video sharing platform. And then I think, yeah, eventually I just kind of grew out of it, and I was like, oh, none of this is real. I was like, this literally isn't real. It doesn't matter. I think maybe that's why I've subconsciously gotten a little bit like more just like rude sometimes on this show, and like mean, is because I don't want to say like, well, I don't care, so I'm just going to be mean. No, that's not nice. That's not what a good person does. But I think sometimes it's not like that the mask slips or whatever, but I just kind of am like, whatever, you know? Like, I think when Charlie Kirk, I'm not trying to, every fucking episode with this guy, man, but just as if this is just, it's tangentially related. Like when he died and we had to do an episode on this show, like about that, I think like 5 years ago, maybe not even that long ago, but like a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have done an hour and a half talking about it. I would have done 10 minutes. And I would have eggshelled around it, you know, because I didn't want to make people mad. Now, again, I don't want to say that, and then it makes it sound like I'm only doing this show so I can rage bait people. No. It's not like that. I just mean like, yeah, man, like sometimes people get mad about shit, and it's okay because they'll get over it, and tomorrow they'll fucking forget about it, and then they'll be like, I'm just a guy on the internet, and honestly, so are you. That's all that it is. That's not a bad thing. It's just we're just people on the internet. That's all that it is. Alrighty, folks, if you're listening to this, like, god damn, what a fucking long episode this was. If you're watching this on listening to this on Apple Podcasts, what's up? What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.
Primary control.